before I was for several years talking and communicating to Shirdi Baba, which is equally great in India as after became Sai Baba, their prophet and God and holy man and whatever you want to call it. So, I had, when we came to Dharmakshetra, I said to this Australian friend, let's call him Peter, I told him that I have only one desire. I would like to go to Shirdi place, which is, in that time, it was whole day journey because there were no public transport very developed in this part of India, and also roads were very, very poor condition. So, and we were whole morning before this darshan happened, we were inquiring among other devotees if anyone would be interested to go to Shirdi. So we thought we will share a taxi, then it might not be that terribly expensive. Whole day driving there and next day back. 2 days spent in driving on the road. I think this, if we share on four parts, it won't be too much for us to cover. So Baba was standing there on at the wall, and after that I stopped this car on the road asking for help with transport, and a gentleman offered that he will take us to this hotel. But in fact, when we were driving in a taxi, in his car, he said, do you know, when we are passing my home, I would kindly ask you, please come to my house. My wife makes the best mango shake in India. He said, have a refreshment, drink something. It was a very hot day. You must be quite dehydrated. Come to my place, have a little chat with meet my wife and my two children, and have some mango, and then we will continue to our hotel. So how could we refuse? We agreed to do, because we were completely depending on his initiative. We came into his house, we had this mango and met his lovely wife, and then he said, he was in fact an chemical engineer in a German factory in Bombay, and he said, do you know, you are first time in Bombay and you are Baba followers, and I want to invite you for dinner. I know you couldn't eat anything, it was so crowded there. He said, there is a lovely restaurant, please come, be my guest. So we went to this restaurant. When we finished with dinner, it was already midnight. And then gentleman said, how will you go now at midnight? Maybe there will be no room, free room in this Hare Krishna hotel. I think best would be if you spend the night with us. And while we were having a dinner, he was asking how did I came to know about Baba, and I said that I was followers of Shirdi Baba, and then that we were trying in the morning to find people who would be interested to go there, but we couldn't assemble four people altogether. And he said, you wanted to go to Shirdi Baba? I said, surely, yes. And he said, don't you worry, tomorrow morning 6 o'clock we go to Shirdi. And we came back to his place. He called director of his factory and he said, do you know, I have guests from Australia and they would like to go to see Shirdi, and can you send us an air-conditioned car, because it was hot really. And it was 6 o'clock, there was an air-conditioned car and there was a driver, and then this guy and his family and Peter and me, I don't know how many, somehow we were quite comfortable in this big, there were one particular type of car in India that was very well known in that time, and mainly only one type of car was there. They were massive. They looked like Russian, but they probably were not. It was really Indian production. Would you know?
Is it Ambassador?
Yeah, Ambassador cars. And then we had enough room for us, and we were on our way to Shirdi. uh, we arrived late. It was too late to go into the temple. We got good accommodation in their ashram, which is lovely. And then in the early morning, just like in Puttaparthi, routine is the same and timetable is the same. We went into the temple and to see how they worship Shirdi Baba. What do they do? Temple was packed like chock-a-block, as they say, and I squeezed myself somehow in one corner, uh, the quietest place in this temple that could possibly be. And priests were starting their service. I didn't understand the word because it wasn't in English, but I enjoy being there tremendously. After one maybe hour service was over, everyone was going out, but since I was in this corner, I couldn't go. I was meant to go last, among the last people. So I was sitting there waiting that crowd goes, that I can go out as well. Suddenly priest come to me and says, "Madam, it seems to me you would like to spend a little bit more of time in meditation with Shirdi." And I said, "This man is reading my mind." I said, "Of course I would. Thank you very much for asking." So they emptied the temple and nobody was there. They locked the door and only me and three priests who were doing puja and additional bathing the statue, Abhishekam, with milk and with, they put a garland around Shirdi's neck. He was wearing one shawl around his shoulders, and in front of him was vibhuti, an offering called prasadam. It was different type of fruit and some sweets and some Indian delicacies. They were under Shirdi's feet. And when I thought it is enough of me sitting there, maybe extra half an hour, I went towards the statue and I bent down to touch with my forehead Shirdi's feet, as it customary in India. And priest, when I got up, priest took the garland from the statues, from the Shirdi's neck, and put it around my neck, and put also around my shoulders his shawl, and gave me this plate with all this prasadam. So I was walking out of the temple like a female version of Shirdi.
Wow.
I did not know the value of all this, but I maybe felt even a little bit silly. But on another way, I was pleased with all this because I understood it must have some meaning, you know. And I came out, these people, other of my party, they were running crazy because they wanted to go to the police, and they did not know who kidnapped this Western woman there, because the temple was locked and I was nowhere to be found. So they were dead worried about me. But when they saw me like this coming, their jaws dropped and they were left without a text. They couldn't say anything. And I explained why and how they had to wait for me, what stopped me from coming out in time. All right, we spent the night, a second night, and next morning we took again our vehicle and were on our way to Bombay. When we came to Bombay, we caught the first flight to Bangalore and back to Whitefield. Baba was in Whitefield at that time. It was a time when Baba was coming out and giving darshan and meeting his followers twice a day, in the morning and in afternoon. So we did catch afternoon darshan from the airport we took rickshaw directly to Whitefield place and sat down. And how we sat down, Swami came to me, and it was swinging again as he usually, sometimes he used to do, and also he stood in front of me, looking into my eyes, asking, "How did you like my present for your anniversary?" So the point is, I wanted to tell you all this story to explain how Baba works around things, or everything, one thing leads into the other. We don't, it was not a simple event, it was so complex what he has done, how he has guided all his taxi and dinner and accommodation and in Bombay, and this temple experience, and back to darshan in Whitefield, and sitting down, and he came and to finish it off, you know.